I am was asked to talk about like how I became a UU and what that's like for me. And originally I thought I should start with my childhood. In 61, that's a lot of years. But I realized that really I need to go back even further because my parents were, my mom was raised Catholic and my dad was raised Jewish, and they lived their whole lives being Catholic and Jewish. And they got married in the 50s in Boston. This was not something you did. Interfaith marriage was problematic. My father's family didn't come to the service because it took place in a Catholic church, and they weren't going to go, and they didn't go. You did go to the reception, though. Can I say? Anyway, all right. Part of the deal when they got married in the Catholic church is they had to agree to raise their children Catholic. So I was raised Catholic, and for a long time, I kind of blamed the Catholic Church. I used to call myself a recovering Catholic. I've come to realize that my biggest problem was that I became an adolescent during the time when I was a Catholic, and back in those days, you used to go to confession, and I realized that my feeling was that if I was really honest with the priest, that the priest would come out of the booth and grab me and throw me out of church and tell me that I should never come back because I was an adolescent, and every adolescent has these thoughts that you have that, you know, and in the Catholic Church, we were taught that it wasn't sinful just to do something. It was sinful to think about doing something. So if you can imagine the rigor of that, I just couldn't handle it. So, but then I had children. And one of the things that I was taught as a Catholic is that you have to baptize your children or else they go to, I think was called limbo, which I found out recently. The Pope, the most recent Pope, I believe, eliminated limbo. I'm wondering what happened to all those kids. But anyway, so I was told this is what you had to do, and I did not want my children winding up in limbo. So so I had them baptized, even though I was really not a religious person, and I was honest with the priest about that. But you know, they I guess they want as many Catholics as they can. They were okay with baptizing my children. And then the children and I moved to Vermont, and my mom recommended to me that I go to church because it was a place to meet people. And I thought that made some sense, right? You know, I didn't know anybody in Vermont, and I had the kids, and like it was a very small Catholic church. Because where I grew up, everybody was either Catholic or Jewish, and most people were Catholic. Like I didn't know what those Protestants were or what that was all about. It's just where I was, you were either Catholic or Jewish. But I showed up in Vermont, and most people were not Catholic. Very small, and it really wasn't a place where I felt like I would get the social interaction. And I did not want my kids having that guilt and shame that I grew up with. So I met a woman who invited me to come to a Brethren church. And God bless the Brethrens. And I remember the first time I went to that church, I took the kids to Sunday school. I was going. I wasn't going to just drop them off and let them fill their heads with whatever. And I remember them showing a picture of a man and a little boy, and they said, "This is a family." You know, so it wasn't like a traditional. And I thought, oh, that's very nice. And I found out that the Brethren really didn't believe in hell or, you know, some of the things that I had filled my head with. So I as a person searching on this faith journey, I joined the Brethren. And before I joined, I met with the minister, a wonderful minister. And I had 2 points that I wanted to let him know. The first one was that I believe that women had a choice to, you know, terminate pregnancies, have abortions, and that I thought that members of the LGBTQ community were also God's children and equal in God's eyes, and therefore equal in my eyes. And our wonderful minister, this very conservative church, I don't know if any of you know, like, you know, Mennonites and Quakers, like the Brethren are in that ilk. You know, it's hard to believe I was a Brethren. Yeah, anyway, but he said, if you can accept that we have the beliefs that we have, we can accept that you have the beliefs that you have, and you are welcome to join us. And so I did. I joined. Mike and I got married. I'm grateful for so many things. But I will say this, so most of my life I have been Catholic, and I joined this very conservative, kind of fundamental Christian church. I learned, I had always believed in Jesus. I was actually told that I had an option there, but I always believed in Jesus, and that Jesus was a teacher, and that Jesus, was the Son of God. But at that church, I learned that Jesus was my friend. And I went through some hellish experiences while I was there, and Jesus stuck by me in a way that people couldn't have. I learned that. I'm so grateful for that. So just to skip around a little bit. So then I joined the Methodist church. Mike and I were married. We moved somewhere, they didn't have brethren. So Mike had been raised Methodist, so we joined Methodist. We joined the Methodist when we moved to a different part of Vermont. And when we came here, we joined Pittman Park. And considering we're in Southeast Georgia, I kind of felt like the Methodists were like Christian light. In comparison to some of them, right? Okay. But what happened was the Methodists decided to spend, I think, like a year and a half in contemplative prayer about what the role was for LGBTQ people in the church. I don't know how many of you know about that, but they did that. And then I'm a big believer in prayer as guidance. I pray every morning that, God show me his will and give me the strength and the willingness to carry it out. Therefore, I really believe that I do my best with that. And an entire church, and I'm not talking a congregation, I'm talking all the United Methodists in the world, did this contemplative prayer process, came to the end and decided that no, actually, LGBTQ people could not be married in the church, and they couldn't be open as ministers. Keeping in mind that they were already open as ministers, what that meant was that several people had to find another vocation. I couldn't handle that. I felt like if that was the guidance that God was giving them, then they weren't getting good guidance. Obviously, they weren't really listening to God. Because my Jesus, and my God, that is not the direction that they would take. That is not it. I think about God as a parent, and I can't imagine God saying, okay, these of my children deserve this full attention and love, but these people just a little bit less. We'll accept you, but just a little bit less. I couldn't. So even though I had joined the brethren and said, it's okay, I'll be honest about what I believe, but I'll accept you. I don't know, maybe it was my age, right? I finally got tired of this stuff and left. And let me tell you, it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. I didn't feel like I was walking away from Jesus. I actually felt more like I was walking towards Jesus, because I didn't think that I think about the teachings. I don't know if any of you know this, but I have this Bible and it has all the things that Jesus actually said, like the quotes in red. And if you look through it, everything that Jesus said, do any of you know what he said about issues around LGBTQ people?
Nothing.
Nothing, not one word. But if you're looking for guidance, there's certainly things like judge not, lest ye shall be judged, love your neighbor as yourself, like that. So it didn't align, and I couldn't, and it was hard because I had to walk away. And that also put my wonderful husband, who was raised a Methodist, in a really bad position, because he had to make his own decision, and I would have been supportive of whatever decision that he made, and he also left. So we both left, and we were talking. We had a class this morning. We were talking. I actually did write the letter that said, "Take my name off the roll." I found the letter. I'm not going to read it. I brought it to the pastor of the church at the time, and I handed it to him, and he read it. And I'm not going to tell you what he told me, but he was very kind. He's a wonderful man. I will tell you, he is a wonderful man. So My heart goes out to him just as much. So then I kind of felt like I was wandering. I didn't know where to go. Like I was told about there's at least one other Catholic church, I mean a Christian church you could go to. I wasn't a big fan of their music. Can I say that? I wouldn't want to join because of their music. I won't name the first. Okay, anyway. And everybody got disconnected from everybody. And it was really awful. And I felt even more, I was afraid, and I needed community even more than I had before. Okay. So there was a lot of push. Yeah, I think about this as pushes and pulls, right? There was a lot of push in my journey, like a lot of being pushed away from things. Not a whole lot of pulling me towards. But when we started attending services over Zoom, which is how we came to be involved, I really felt pulled in, which is very different than being pushed away. So I wrote some things like, what did I like about Unitarians? Why did I decide to join the church? Because I've been on this journey, and I will say I still feel like I'm on this journey. But I also feel like this church embraces that journey as opposed to giving me guidance on how that journey should go. I liked the online services. Jane has an absolute gift, had an absolute gift for this. She kept it fun and interesting and enjoyable, and we would sit there with our cups of coffee, and we would we had wonderful time. I liked the fact that I got 2 churches for the price of one. I was kind of sad when we stopped doing online because I lost runs with people and the choir and some other things that I really loved about those people. But another pull for me was that you could believe in whatever you wanted. As somebody who was raised by a Catholic mother and a Jewish father, both of those things would have been embraced here in a way that was not in the rest of my journey until I got here. It also, because I could believe what I wanted without kind of the dogma of here's what you must believe, I got to do things like I joined the Sangha here and practice meditation, which is something that I had long sought for, but did not find in my other faiths. Also, I really believe that it is our responsibility as people on this planet to love this Mother Earth that we have been given, and our responsibility. And I loved that part of what I could do here was be honest in my love and admiration and for all things that are nature, and the fact that I could go out in the woods and feel as more connected in some ways to my God than I would in any church building. I loved that the part of me that is Jewish, because even though I wasn't raised Jewish, there is a part of me, the DNA testing 50% Eastern European Jews. I am Jewish, and I can acknowledge, I can value that here. I can be both Jewish and join a Sangha and be a Christian. Mike likes to say I still identify as a Christian. But I love my Jesus, but it's my Jesus, not the one that the Catholic faith tells me I have to have, not the one that the Methodists tell me I have to have. I love that. And I can have all of that, and all of that can sit inside of me in this building, and it's not just accepted, but valued. Like that diversity of faith is valued here. I loved the line, and I still love it, that service is our prayer. Because in my life, I have been very active in social justice issues all of my life. Like all of my life, even when I was little, my mom took us to marches. And when I got older, I took my kids to like protest marches, and I just, and also like my work, I was a social worker for a very long time. So social justice is important. I love that. I love that that's part of who we are, is that we do service. I loved that, that we march in the Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade. I love that many of us were a part of the Black Lives Matter protests. I loved Jane's speech when she apologized to the people in her life that, let me see, I'm not good at this, but she talked about growing up in Statesboro and living that life of segregation as a white person. And I remember what she said, and I'm sorry, because it's so rare, I think, that people admit that they did these things and that they were wrong, and that their heart has softened and changed, and that they're sorry. And I think we all need to hear that a little more often, and I was so grateful that you said that. It is not easy, and I don't have to tell you all, to be a progressive in the South. Amen. Which, you know, I've been in a part of our Sunday school, and I met the church large. No, that was not what I saw there. So I found a place and a role, and I will never forget when Sherry asked me if I would be president of the church board, and my first reaction, what? And I'm sorry, but I didn't right away say, yes, of course, I will do this service in this way. But I was so shocked, and I needed some prayerful consideration, because I needed a little contemplative prayer on whether or not that's where God was leading me. And wow, I am very grateful to be a part of this church community. And I can't even tell you all how amazing it is that whoever I am and whoever I will be, you will love me no matter what, and I will be welcomed here, and that my assets will be valued and used, and that my challenges will be accepted and supported until they change. Okay, so that's the pull. Thank you all. But the pull was kind of like a big old hug. Come on in. We love you. We take you exactly as you are. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is the future, because that's what I was asking, like, where was I, what happened, where are we going? So let's see if I can do a little poll here too. I do believe that the future doesn't belong to me. The future belongs to my God, who has a plan. And you know what they say, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. So let me just tell you my plan to be Unitarian. First, we need more diversity. I know it's a problem, right? That they say the most segregated place in any community is churches on Sunday. And I don't know what needs to happen. I did my tries. I put my efforts, and I'm not done with the diversity. Not done. But I don't know what needs to happen. But we need, I would like, I think we have some diversity, first of all, let me be clear. I don't think we lack any diversity. I just think we need more of it. More, for sure. We need it. Because I think we are a richer community for having that diversity. I think it's very important. I think we need to do more service. I'm going to see my plan. God's up there going. Okay, we need more service. I think we need to do more in the community to get our eyes out. I loved that we started doing the first Friday. I love that we are working on trying to get out there more. The more of that we can do. I loved the Halloween party that we had, and we had people from all over Statesboro come. So I just think we need more of that. We need more people. Although I will say, you know, we talked about the numbers went down during the pandemic, and maybe part of it is that Mike and I joined during the pandemic. So with these little squares, it looked like there were a lot of them, but then I remembered like it's the two churches together. But I've been watching the numbers of people sitting in the seats growing, and I'm so grateful for that. And I will say, like right now, I'm okay with this, you know, and it's summer, it's July. And people go to church in July. What are we doing? Anyway, okay. We need more people. And the last thing on my list for the future is we need more music. First of all, I want to say what an amazing blessing Warner is. Yes, you are. I love having a choir. Yes. We need more music, we need more live music. There are a lot of really talented people. Like even when I'm just sitting there and we're singing, I hear you all. Some of you can sing, come on, you know. And so, you know, we have the choir, and we're working on that. But I think there's a lot of individual talent. So I would like to see if we can have more live music. And I will reiterate that I'm happy to be a part of that, because I feel like music is another form of worship. So, you know, I can hug a tree, that's worship. You know, I can smell the ocean breeze, that's worship. I can pray to my God, that's worship. I can play music, and that's worship. And I think that music brings a very special and important part of the worship service. So that's it. That's my little thing on my journey. And we'll see. Like I said, I'm a big fan of contemplative prayer. So I will pray, and whatever it is that is supposed to happen will be exactly as it's supposed to happen, exactly when it's supposed to happen.